Hi guys, welcome to science. This is science class, week number 29. Can you believe we're already at week 29? Oh my goodness, I can't believe how fast time goes. All right, so we have a really amazing lesson today. This is one of my most favorite lessons, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. But before we start our lesson, I want to share some pictures with you that I got from some of our friends. So let's take a look at those pictures first. Okay, here comes our pictures. All right, our first picture. Oh, look at our friend. I love, look at how cute he is in his crown, and he's got history and science going on here. So he's got his history crown, and he's got his science paper from when we learned about communicating with colors. Great job. Thank you so much for sending me that picture. Oh, we've got Miss Abby here. Abby, you've made a great flower. I love it. I love how you printed your own words too. I love it when you guys practice with printing and your letters. Oh, that looks amazing, Abby. Good job. Nicole, this is gorgeous. Oh, I love those seeds that you have in the middle are amazing. And I love that you were super creative and used yarn for your roots. Great job. All right, guys, so we're gonna stop that for just a second. Okay, so today, like I said, is a great lesson. I love what we're learning about today. But before we move on, let's review what we learned last week. You guys remember what we learned last week? Okay, we just saw a couple of pictures that were from last week's lesson. Put on your thinking caps, turn them all the way up. What was last week's lesson in science? It was about plants. I know you all shouted out plants, right? Everybody went, plants! I just know you did that. Okay, guys, so we learned about plants last week. We learned about the parts of a plant and how important every single part of the plant is. So let's talk really quick about the importance of every part of the plant before we move on to our lesson. So what's that very bottom part, the very, very bottom part of the plant? Do you remember what that's called? The roots. So why are the roots important? What role do the roots play? Why does a plant need the roots? You don't see them anyway. I mean, they're just hidden under the ground. Why do we need the roots? We need the roots because they hold tight to the ground, right? They anchor the plant in the ground. Have you ever tried to pick a weed? Weeds, those roots of weeds, they hang on tight. They don't want to come out of the ground, right? They hold on really tight. Roots anchor that plant really tight into the soil. And the roots are also like little tiny straws. Even though they kind of look like maybe hairs, they're little tiny straws that suck up the water from the soil and they take it up to the stem. So the roots are a very, very important part of the plant. Okay, what's right above the roots? You remember? The stem, that's right. The stem is super important. Why is the stem so important? Any ideas? Well, the stem supports the plant. It holds it strong. It's kind of like our skeleton. What would happen if we didn't have a skeleton? We'd be a pile of jelly on the ground, right? Because we don't have a skeleton to hold us up. Well, the stem is very important. It's what holds the plant up. And it also has like a little straw inside of the stem. So the nutrients and the water, they will suck up into the roots and they'll go up the stem into the other parts of the plant. Okay, what comes after the stem? If we're working from the bottom to the top, what comes next? Got the stem, and then you have something that branches off. I know you're saying the leaves, right? You all know that, the leaves. Okay, why are leaves so important? What do the leaves do? Do they just look pretty? No, they're very important. They actually collect the sunlight, and they help to turn the sunlight into food that feeds the plant. We're gonna learn a little bit more about that in a minute. All right, we're at the leaves. Let's go back to the stem. We keep going up. What do we run into at the very top? Are you all saying the flower? I know you're all saying the flower because it's the prettiest part of the plant. Well, most of the time, not always. Some leaves are very beautiful. Why is the flower important? Anybody remember why the flower is important? Think for a minute. Because in the flower is where the seeds develop. Right? We have to have the flower for those seeds to develop. Why are the seeds important? The seeds are what help the plant to reproduce. So we can grow new plants, right? If there were no seeds, we wouldn't get any new plants. And then some flowers and some plants have a fruit. You guys remember why the fruit was important? besides being yummy, right? Because it protects the seed. That's right. The fruit develops around the seed and protects it because that seed is very special. It's what's going to give us new plants. Good job, you guys. So we're actually going to learn a little more about plants today. Dr. Seuss is going to teach us. He's got a book that we're going to read. I love reading Dr. Seuss. He always makes me laugh. Okay, guys, so when I read Dr. Seuss to you, your pictures are going to come up on the screen, but some of the controls and the buttons that I have on my screen, they cover some of the words. And so I have to actually have the book in my hand too. So I'm going to be looking at the book in my hand. You're going to be looking at the book on the screen, and we're going to read this book together. Okay, let's get our book up here.
Oh, say, can you seed? I'm the Cat in the Hat, and I think that you need to come take a look at this thing called a seed. From the giant gum tree to this very small weed, every flowering plant started out as a seed. Plants are so useful to me and to you. Can you think of the ways? I will name a few. The paper for books and the cloth for your pants come from trees and from cotton. That's two kinds of plants. The grains and the fruits and the veggies you eat, why, they come from plants too. And here's something neat. In deserts and woods and rainforests thick, grow plants that can make you feel well when you're sick. Yes, plants serve us well and fill so many needs, and flowering plants all started as seeds. Just what is a seed, you are wondering, maybe? Well, you might say a seed is a tiny plant baby. The best way for you to see just what I mean is to take a close look at a seed called a bean. Like all seeds, a bean comes in 3 basic parts. Thing 1 and thing 2, please bring the charts. Part 1 is the first that I think you should know. It's the part that's the baby. It's called an embryo. To sprout, it needs food like you and I do, which brings us to seed part numero 2. It's called a cotyledon. Say, isn't that fun? This bean seed has 2, but some others have 1. Last comes the third part that you need to know. It's the coat, which protects our cute bean embryo. To sprout a bean seed, keep it moist but not wet. Keep it covered with dirt. And then see what you get. In 7 or so days comes the part that I love. A root spreads below and a stem shoots above. All right, guys, take a look right here. We've got our seed that was just planted. We've got our seed right here. It's getting water and soil and sunshine, and look, it's starting to sprout. And then we have our seed over here. Its roots have started to go down into the soil and grabbing on tight, and our stem is sprouting up. Now, in order to show a grown bean plant to you, we've traveled in time for some months, maybe 2. Okay, guys, let's take a look at our plant here. So after 2 months of growing, look at how big it's gotten. Everything down here below the dirt is called the root system. Look at all those roots. And everything up above, this is called the shoot system. The leaves and the stem and the flowers. To get a good look at the roots underground, it is better to make like a mole, I have found. The roots are not pretty, they're twisty and hairy, and some roots look even a little bit scary. Roots anchor a plant and help it stand true. Roots suck up water and minerals too. And roots keep the soil from just washing away. That's pretty important, now wouldn't you say? Okay, guys, I want you to really pay attention to that last sentence. It's going to be or that last paragraph. It's going to be kind of funny later on. Here, I'm going to read it again. And roots keep the soil from just washing away. That's pretty important, now wouldn't you say? We've talked about roots. We have learned about them. Now it is time we move on to the stem. The stem is a pipe through which water shoots. It's absorbed from the soil and it's passed up through the roots. It shoots through the plant, and next, as you'll see, the leaves each turn into a food factory. All right, everybody, look right down here. Look, we have thing 1 and thing 2. They have an interesting fact for us. Just like the rhino is protected with horns, the stem of a rose is protected with thorns. Leaves come in all shapes and sizes, I've found. Some small and some spiky, some big and some round. But the thing that all leaves have in common is this: they make their own food by photosynthesis. Okay, everybody, take a look at all these different styles of leaves. We've got narrow leaves, toothed, jaggedy-edged leaves, smooth leaves. Look at these really bumpy ones. Got all those cool different kinds of leaves. What was that word about how they make their own food? Do you remember? Photosynthesis. Everybody say photosynthesis. I'll say this quite loudly, and I don't mean to be rude, but plants are the only living things on the earth that make their own food. To do this, plants need water, minerals, and sun. And that's why the daytime's when the food making is done. For your information and also for fun, hop in my shrink upper. Let's see how it's done. Okay, we're gonna hop in the shrink hopper, or the shrink upper, so we can get small and go study some plants. The leaf takes in CO2 through a stoma or pore. It works like a mouth, and that's what it's for. Okay, let's take a look. Right here's the stoma. You see that little dot right there? That's the stoma. That's where the leaf breathes in the CO2. CO2 is called carbon dioxide. And the interesting thing is that when you breathe out, you are breathing out carbon dioxide. That's what the plant breathes in and what you breathe out. But this is the great thing about the leaves. They breathe in the carbon dioxide. It goes up into the leaf, and they breathe out the oxygen, which is what we need. So plants and humans, we work together perfectly. Then the air gets mixed in with the water and sun, and that's how the food making factory is run. I see by my clock that now is the hour to drop in and say a hello to the flower. Thing 2 has a chart. He will share it with you that shows what the parts of a flower all do. In the pistil are ovules. They're unfertilized seeds. The stamen holds pollen, which an ovule needs. The unfertilized ovule will not ever grow, and the pollen's the stuff that will fix that, you know. A flower's own pollen or another's okay. That's where the bees play a role, by the way. See these little things right here? They need what's right here to create a whole new flower. Those two things have to get together. Let's go figure out how bees can help this happen. To make honey, bees need to get nectar from flowers. They fly and they gather this sweet stuff for hours. The pollen sticks onto their bodies and legs. It falls off, and sometimes it reaches their eggs. Okay, so this little bee, he needs to get nectar from the flowers because he wants to go make his honey. So he flies to a flower and lands on it. And as he's getting the nectar, the pollen is sticking to his body. He's okay about that. He doesn't mind. And then that bee starts flying away again, and that pollen can fall off. And it can fall off into other flowers. Or when he lands on another flower, an ovule that fertilized becomes a seed. Around it grows fruit, upon which we feed. When we say the word fruit, do you know what that means? It means olives and nuts, grains, plantains, and tangerines, and apples and oranges and pineapples too. All kinds of plant foods that are healthy for you. Are you guys getting hungry yet? I'm hungry talking about all that yummy fruit. Down here, we've got thing 1 and thing 2. They're going to give us another little bit of information. Some fruits are juicy and messy to munch on. Dry ones like nuts are nice to just crunch on. Not all plants with seeds give us edible fruit. Some plants have seeds that look weird or look cute. Burr seeds are hitchhikers that ride on your clothes. And dandelion seeds sometimes fly up your nose. Some seeds come in pods that explode like a sneeze. And others have wings that can fly on the breeze. Look at these ones all look like they're flying. You see how this one looks like it exploded when he sneezed on it? But whether they stick or they blow or they fly, seeds bring us life, and now you know why. I see the sun setting, and here comes the moon. I hope you have learned from my little seed. Uh-oh. I missed some. Sorry, guys. My notes are in the way. Come back. I see the sun is setting, and here comes the moon. Your mother is calling. Your dinner is soon. I hope you have learned from my little seed talk, and now I will climb up this giant beanstalk. Check it out. Remember that little tiny seed he planted in the very, very beginning? Look, it's grown into a huge beanstalk. The end.
Okay, guys, so I want to look at some seeds and some plants with you. I have a question. Do you think that a baby seed, remember the baby seed in our book, do you think the baby seed looks like the adult plant? Do they look the same? One's just tiny, tiny, and one's great big, or do they look different? Let's go take a look at some seeds and see if you can tell me what they're going to grow into. Okay, I'm bringing up our pictures. Okay, we're going to talk about the seeds and the parent plant. Okay, so the baby and the parent. All right, guys, check it out. Do you have any idea what kind of seeds these are? Do you think that they'll grow into just great big giant enormous seeds, or do you think they're going to grow into some kind of plant? Okay, let's check it out. The next slide will tell us what they're going to grow into. Pine trees. I bet you have all seen pine trees. I bet some of you even have them in your yard. Check it out over here. We've got pine cones. These seeds are in these pine cones, and those pine cones grow on the tree. So the pine cone is the fruit of the pine tree. So I have a question. Do you think that we could plant this pine cone and have it grow into something different than, this pine, sorry, tongue-tied. Do you think we could plant this pine seed and have it grow into anything that's not a pine tree? I don't think so. Let's keep going. All right, check it out. What kind of seeds are these? Anybody have any ideas? So over here is the seed, and over here is where the seed has started to sprout. Remember the shoots? Okay, any ideas? 3, 2, 1. It's a walnut tree. Guys, guess what? I have a walnut tree in my yard, a great big one, and it's my most favorite tree. But every fall and clear into sometimes middle of the winter, my whole family has to go outside every few days and pick up walnuts off the lawn because our walnut tree drops thousands of walnuts every year. It's a lot of work, but I love my walnut tree. They're beautiful. And they all started from this little seed. Okay, what kind of seed do you think this is? I know that you all have seen these seeds before. Do you have any ideas what this seed will grow into? Here we go, 3, 2, 1. It's an apple seed. Look, just like when you slice your apples in half. Do you recognize them? Did you know that that was an apple seed when I just showed the picture? Do you think we could ever plant an apple seed and have it grow to be a pine tree? I don't think so. I can't trick you guys, even if I try. All right, how about these ones? Any ideas what these ones are? Think fall, think October, think Halloween. What do you think these grow into? Pumpkins. That's a pumpkin seed. I knew what these ones were right away because I absolutely love pumpkins. I love pumpkins and I love jack-o'-lanterns, and they are my favorite part of the fall. I love to have lots of jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins at my house in the fall. So I knew right away what those seeds were. All right, let's try another one. I bet you guys have all seen these. Any idea what kind of seed this is? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Dandelion seeds. You all knew that, didn't you? I bet you all have grabbed these dandelions and blown them and watched the seeds go flying. My little girl loves to do that, and she makes wishes. She says they're her wishes when she blows her dandelions. But these float on the wind, and when they land, they can grow into these beautiful yellow dandelions. Okay, guys, anybody recognize this kind of seed? Do you think we could plant this seed and have it grow a dandelion? No, I don't think so, because it's not a dandelion seed, is it? Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. It's a sunflower seed. So here's the seeds. Here's how they grow. Ooh, gives me the creepies a little bit. Here's how they grow. See, right in this section right here, there's no seeds in there. They've already fallen out. But all of these ones, those are all those seeds pushed in there. And that is actually this part of the plant right here. So does the seed, does the baby seed look like the grown-up plant? Nope, it doesn't, does it? Nope. And if we planted a sunflower seed, it's not going to grow an apple tree. All right, let's try another one. Any idea what this one is? It's a different looking seed, isn't it? I didn't know what it was at first. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. It's a daisy. Look at those beautiful daisies. They come from these little seeds right here. So if we planted these, we would get daisies. We wouldn't get a pine tree. We wouldn't get a jack-o'-lantern. Nope, because these are daisy seeds. I bet you all know this one. What is this? What kind of seed is this? Did you guys know this was a seed? Okay, 3, 2, 1. It's corn. All right, so the cool thing about this is if you plant the seed, you get a corn stalk. If you pop the seed, you get popcorn. Both of them are delicious and wonderful, right? Okay, any ideas what this seed is? This is a different looking seed, isn't it? You ready? In 3, 2, 1. It's roses. Look at those beautiful roses. So if you were to plant this seed, you wouldn't get corn, you wouldn't get daisies, you wouldn't get dandelions, you only get roses because these are rose seeds. So guys, now let me get out of here. Here's my question. So does the seed, which is the baby, look like the grown-up plant? Not really, right? The seeds really don't look like the grown-up plant. That little pine tree seed didn't look like a pine tree. But if we plant it, we pretty much know what it's going to look like when it grows up, right? We know that a pine tree seed will look like a pine tree. We know that a corn seed will look like a stalk of corn. It's just like if you have little baby brothers or sisters at your house, you don't know exactly what they're going to look like when they grow up, but you know they're going to look like your parents, right? They're either going to look like mom or dad or maybe brother or sister. Yeah, because the babies of plants, which is the seed, grow up to look like their parent plants. Okay, this is my most favorite part of the lesson. This is the part that I've been waiting for, the part that I wanted so bad to do in class with you guys, but we are still gonna make it awesome. I'm gonna show you, I hope you guys can do this experiment at home. We're gonna dissect a plant. Now, dissecting means to take apart to study. So I don't want you guys going out and just dissecting plants all the time. Now, plants are very, very important to our world, and we don't want to just rip them apart for no reason. But we are going to study them today. So we're going to go take a look at it. Now, I've already done this. I did this earlier today, and if you are one of my students, you know Miss Peggy, right? Miss Peggy, she recorded this for me. So we're going to go take a look at some plants that I dissected. Give me a sec to bring those up. Okay, here comes. Maybe it's coming. Come on. There we go. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go.
Okay guys, so we have lots of plants here that we're going to dissect. Dissect means to take apart to study. So if you look over here, I have some that are already planted, and I have some that we've already cut from the roots. So we're going to start with the one that we've planted, and I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to pull it out of its pot. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to see if we can find those roots. So we're going to wash the roots off over here in the water.
Okay, do you remember when we were reading our book and we talked about this, that the roots help the soil to not wash away? Yeah, that is true. Watch how hard of a time I have getting the soil off these roots.
That dirt's packed on there really good. It doesn't want to all come off.
Those roots are hanging on to that soil.
It's coming. We're getting it. Okay guys, I've almost got all these roots cleaned off. I had to stop the camera because it's taken a long time. This flower, it doesn't want to let go of its dirt. It knows that its dirt's really important to it. But I've got quite a bit of the dirt off here. So we're going to come back over here. My tablecloth is. We're going to take a look at our plant. Can you see these roots here? There's a whole bunch of different little pieces. Each little piece there grabs down into the ground and hangs onto it. Okay guys, can you see these roots here? Each one of those roots hangs onto the dirt. And the nutrients from the dirt and the water come up these roots, up into the stem, and up into the leaves. So we're going to dissect our plant now. We're going to take it apart. If you look over here at my table, I've got 4 sections. I want you to get a piece of paper when you do this experiment, and I want you to divide your paper into 4 sections. Label 1 flower, 1 stem, 1 leaves, and 1 roots. And we're going to separate our plant into sections. So I'm going to take the roots, and I'm going to cut them off, and I'm going to put them in our root section. And then I'm going to take some leaves. I'm going to put them in our leaves section. Does anybody remember what the leaves are for? The leaves help the flower absorb sunshine to feed it. And then I'm going to take the stem. So I'm going to take these leaves off. And what does the stem do? It gives the plant support, and it helps funnel the nutrients from the soil up into the leaves in the flower. I'm going to put that in our stem section. And then I'm going to pull some flowers and put them in our flower section. Do you guys remember what the flower does? The flower holds the seeds so that the plant can reproduce. Okay, so I'm going to be done with that plant. We're going to look at some of our other ones here. So you guys have probably seen these. They're probably growing in your yard or around your neighborhood. These are tulips. So we're going to separate our tulip into parts, just like we did our other flower here. So I'm going to take the tulip's leaves and put them in our leaves section. I'm going to take the stem and put it in our stem section, and our flower in our flower section. We've got some more here. Let's do our daisies. We don't have roots for our tulip because I didn't pull that one from the ground. So I'm going to put our stem of our daisies in our stem section. Where'd my tulip stem go? Did it fall? Is that my tulip stem? And I'm going to put the flower in the flower section and leaves in the leaf section. Oh, sorry guys. All the plants are getting to me.
See, do you remember in our book when we talked about how these plants could make you sneeze? My plants were getting to me.
And I'm going to do one more. I'm not really sure what this plant is called. If anybody knows, you can email it to me and let me know. So I'm going to take some of the leaves, put them in here. Some of the flowers, I'll put it in the flower section. And I'm going to put the stem in the stem section. Okay guys, take a close look at our stuff right here. These are all flowers, but they all look different. These are all leaves, but they all look different. And the same thing with the stems. They're all stems, but they all look different. What do you think the seeds from this flower would grow? Do you think they would grow this kind of flower? Or what about the seeds from this flower? Do you think they would grow this kind of flower? You know, we can pretty much tell pretty close what the flower will look like from its seeds. They're going to grow just about the same. All right. Anybody know what this flower is? This is a sunflower. This is one of my favorites. We're actually going to cut this open and see what's inside the stem. All right. Okay guys, here we go. We're going to look inside the stem. We open this up. There you go. Look, you can see the tube that runs up the middle of the stem where everything flows to give nutrients to the leaves and the flower. All right, good job guys.
I so bad wanted to do that in class with everybody. I thought it would have been so fun for all of us to have our plant and be able to look at it and to compare our plants with everybody else's. But that's okay because we're still going to make this great. Here's my challenge, but I have a very important rule. First of all, my challenge is I would love everybody to do a plant dissection. I would love you to get a big piece of paper or a tablecloth like I did and divide it into 4 sections. the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flower. If your flower has seeds, you can even do that as a section. But here's the important parts. You need to make sure whatever plant you dissect, that you have permission from mom or dad. And you have to make sure they're right there by you if you're using any kind of, I use what's called an X-Acto knife. If you use any kind of tools that are sharp, you have to have mom or dad right by you, and you have to have their permission. Okay, so I would love everybody to do this. And I know you're thinking it's really hard to go to the store right now to buy a plant. It's kind of tough, but there's lots of plants everywhere. So the first thing you have to do, get permission from mom or dad. Number one, more important than anything else, make sure mom and dad have given you permission. There's plants that are outside. For instance, the tulips that I used in our demonstration, even though they didn't have the roots on them, tulips have to be cut down anyway. So if mom or dad says there's a tulip that you can cut, then that would be a great one to dissect. Another one that's great to dissect, dandelions. Dandelions have roots and stems and leaves and the flower. And usually people are okay if you pull those from the yard. So a dandelion is a great one. So I would love to see everybody dissect one plant, look at all of its parts, compare it. If you can do two, to compare the two different parts together, I would love to get pictures of the plants that you guys have dissected. But number one, most important, I want you guys to make sure you have permission to do it. And I want you to make sure mom and dad are really close to you. Okay guys, this was a great lesson. I absolutely love plants. I loved looking at them and seeing what they looked like inside. I loved learning about them. I loved seeing the baby seed and what it's going to grow to. And you guys are awesome and amazing. I hope I get to see you all very soon. Have a good week. Bye.